Hey guys, Jay Knowlton here once again, making a quick video in the nighttime, in my break time, just because I wanted to get something done. I wanted to talk a little bit about whether being an English teacher in Japan is good or not. Like, of course, there's a lot of questions. I get a lot of messages every day about I want to come to Japan, or I already live in Japan and I'm not sure what I want to do. I've heard a lot of stories about English teaching and I really am sure if I want to go down that path. So it's very difficult to give advice to those kind of situations because there are so many different kinds of people and there are so many different English teaching companies in Japan. The easy answer is, of course, being an English teacher is fine. Being an English teacher can be fun if you enjoy teaching. So this is where it gets very difficult because there is a whole industry of English teachers in Japan. There's like ALTs, Eikaiwa teachers, dispatch, working for the Board of Education, people who are on their own schools. There are lots of different types of English teachers in Japan. Now, of course, the thing is, when you've got so many, and I'm going to say more than 10,000, I imagine, not everyone is going to enjoy teaching. A lot of people are just here to come and get the visa. And then a lot of people come here because they love teaching. They might have experience teaching in their own country. They might have qualifications to be a real teacher and really want to do that in other parts of the world. Now, when you get people who come here just because they want to live in Japan and they want to be a teacher just so they can get a visa, that's when things start to get a bit difficult because those are the ones who are really going to hate the experience. And then they're the ones who are going to go out and spread the bad message, whether it be on Reddit or anything like that. They're going to spread bad messages that teaching sucks, it's boring, you're a dancing monkey. Whereas actually teaching is fun if you enjoy it. I mean, that sounds very obvious, but if you enjoy teaching, you will enjoy teaching in Japan. Now, add another layer of that. So you will enjoy teaching in Japan if you enjoy teaching and if you join a decent company. Now, this is where things get really, really difficult because when you're on the outside, you want to get in. And when you want to get in, you will take anything you can. There are lots of ALT companies around in Japan, Eikaiwas. As I've mentioned in other videos, I started at Peppy Kids Club and I actually really enjoyed working at Peppy Kids Club. I was very independent. I enjoyed the classes. I enjoyed the kids for the most part. I had really good Japanese assistant teachers. And when I say assistant teachers, they were the main teachers. They were doing all the work. I just showed up once a week and just taught their kids. But there are some people who get really bad schools and really bad students and really bad parents, and that can completely destroy what you enjoy about teaching. And the unfortunate thing is, if you get one really bad experience, that can really take away everything you love about something. For some people, they might be able to shrug it off and be like, okay, I'm going to move somewhere else. But some people, it might really have a deep damaging effects, especially in this age of, mental health and difficulties with stuff like that. One really bad experience can really F you up. And I'm not even just talking about the teaching part. I'm talking about what goes on outside the teaching. I remember I had a couple of bad experiences when I was in Peppy Kids Club because the manager was a bit of a beast. Yeah, so I can't really say too much because I don't know what the YouTube guidelines are about swearing, but she was not a very nice woman. We had many complaints about her. She once referred to a man who had trouble reading maps as an R word. I don't know if I definitely can't say that on YouTube, but when you're in Peppy Kids Club and when you go to so many schools, you have to find all of these places in quite difficult locations. And one teacher kind of struggled with finding the school sometimes, and she called him an R word. She once tried to pull me up while I was on an approved holiday and ask why I didn't communicate with my Japanese staff, even though my friend who I was on holiday with was her boss, and she was like, no, it's fine. But she insisted to try and scold me, and I had to get the kind of managers around the country to kind of get involved. And there are people who work in ALT companies who have really bad experiences with maybe workplace isolation. You go to a public school and you are the only foreign teacher and you might not be able to connect with the teachers in your school. Because working in public schools in Japan is quite difficult because they get rotated. It's not a case of them quitting and joining. Just public schools in Japan rotate teachers around different schools, just like English teachers get moved around different schools as well. So it's kind of the thing where people maybe aren't that well connected, and then when a foreigner comes in, and from the Japanese point of view, it's quite easy to see that this foreigner might be here for 3 months, this foreigner might be here for 2 years. It's kind of not worth getting to know them. Of course, that's not the nicest way to look at it. It would be nice to get everyone involved, but you know, I was in a company, the one before I'm in now, where there was a team of 10, and in the 3 years I worked there, more than 10 people went through this team. Like, there was a lot of turnover. So I can kind of understand why it's quite hard to make those connections. The teaching side as well, you're often given pre-made curriculums which are not very detailed, not very thought out, and can be quite constrictive. Peppy Kids Club had a very thorough curriculum, but they wanted you to teach exactly what they had made. Now, I can kind of see that they're selling a program and they want their teachers to all teach the same thing. There might be some really good teachers who feel constricted, but there might be some very, very newbie teachers who are happy to have all of this provided for them. And by the time I left Peppy Kids Club, they changed to a lot of DVD lessons where you just put the DVD on and let them watch it. It was quite weird in that way. Now, the other thing is reputation. Now, a lot of people coming to Japan must know already that if you are an ALT or an English teacher, your salary is going to be very low. Now, if you're in the countryside, you're probably only ever going to come across other English teachers if you're meeting other foreigners, and you're all pretty much in the same boat. If you come to live in a big city and you're on an ALT salary, your peers that you might meet around the town might be engineers, they might be recruiters who make a lot more money than you and will have a lot more disposable income, and that could end up making you feel a bit inferior. But also that could serve as motivation to help you move on to a better career. So that could work both well and not so well. Like, if you've got a group of recruiters and engineers who are quite well off, I think they might not welcome an English teacher who makes quite little money so easily. You know, life can be like high school in that way. You know, English teaching in 2025, I think it's an industry that's slowly going to be on the decline in terms of staff numbers, especially as Japan gets more to grips on AI, as Japanese people get better at English. You know, whether you believe that or not, I think there's going to be less English teachers from Western countries brought in, especially as these companies compete for kind of lower pay. So they want to hire people from other countries like Jamaica or the Philippines. And I don't want to sound rude to those countries. That's just what they'll do. And then once they start getting enough of those, they'll go even lower down to maybe African countries like, you know, Nigeria, and then start going to like India and stuff like that to try and get the cheapest labor possible. And again, I don't want to sound rude when I say that. That's just what they'll do for business. You can already see in the konbinis that most around the Tokyo area, big cities, are all maybe Nepalese, Indian, Sri Lankans nowadays, and they're great. They do their job and they do a very good job of it. A lot of them speak Japanese very well, but you can kind of see they've been chosen for cheap labor rather than their skill set. But yeah, guys, that's just a little bit about English teaching when you come to Japan. Would I recommend it? You know, as I always say, if you enjoy teaching, come in, get the visa, try and find something better. But if you're not that strong and you don't have such a thick skin, it might be worth saving up some money in your home country, coming to a language school, getting to enjoy the Japan experience, and then try and find a way into a different kind of company like that. Thank you all for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time.